I had a friend actually get possessed during a Ouija board and try to me in the throat with a knife.
Whoa.
My ex-wife was our photographer. You know, she's behind the scenes just taking photos while we're doing interviews, and we look over and she just starts getting affected and got real aggressive, real negative.
So you guys got divorced after that. You're like, this is over. Something's in you. We're done.
Had like an overwhelming like sense of like beauty and there you go.
Was that a ghost?
What the
No way. No fucking way. No way.
You should have got up.
Yeah. We're just gonna take a break to change your shorts.
Welcome to the Digital Social Hour. I'm your host, Sean Kelly. I'm here with my co-host, Wayne Lewis.
What up, what up?
And our guest today, Jay Wasley.
How's it going, guys?
In the
Thanks
building.
for having me on. This is fun.
Mr.
course.
Ghostbuster himself.
Yeah.
Hope I didn't bring any other friends to the studio.
I hope not, because
Yo.
I live by myself.
Not anymore.
How's that happen to you, though, where you investigate a place and then...
And they come home with you?
Yeah, it actually has, you know,
For real?
especially, I mean, we've been doing it for 13 years now, and I know at the beginning, you know, well, to backtrack, it's kind of weird when we investigate, you want to open yourself up, right? Because we want to experience it. We want to capture the evidence. So there's a level of opening yourself up to this stuff. And I think at the beginning, I didn't realize that how important it was to close yourself afterwards. You know, like basically leaving work at work. And it's happened. We've come home, and all of us, like through the years, like we feel like we get, you know, oppressed. We're all happy, chill guys.
Yeah.
But you could tell like something's wrong, like especially if it's a really intense negative energy we were dealing with, and it just lingers. It comes with you. I was living in Nashville for a while. For some reason, that house got it the worst. I don't know if it was just the timing or what.
Yeah.
I would have friends come over and spend the night, and they say they woke up to a lady standing at the foot of their bed, and I would wake up at like 2 a.m. My dog's just growling at the corner of the house. Like,
Wow.
Just like there's nothing there, and I'm like, all right, dude, just go back to bed.
Yeah.
I was actually married for a while, and my ex-wife was our photographer, so she would travel with us doing behind-the-scenes photography. And she was at a location called Goatman's Bridge in Denton, Texas. And, you know, she's behind the scenes just taking photos while we're doing interviews, and we look over and she just starts getting affected and got real aggressive, real negative.
Your wife did?
Yeah. And we're like, shit, what's going on? So we like approached her and we started talking to her, and she just was not herself. You could tell, like, and I've seen people now, like there's a change in the eyes that happen, you know, and then you see it and you're like, whoa, all right, like that's not them.
So
you
something was in her.
Yeah, something was in her, something was affecting her.
So you guys got divorced after that. You're like, this is over. Something's in you. We're done.
Overall, yeah.
You're not who I married.
I mean, you know, we tried to go through different things. You know, she
So that lasted?
yeah, for a little bit, for like a few more months.
A few more months?
Yeah, she took time off the show. We were like, just stay home, try to chill, try to relax.
Did you do an exorcism or?
We never got that
exorcism
far,
show?
you know.
I mean, she got
what?
possessed, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean-
so we we're trying, you know, just, you know, do what you have to do, take a break, shake it, and then she just kind of started declining from there and got
So
worse
did you
and worse.
introduce her to another guy? Like, look, this is my wife, but you can have her.
Like,
You can take her
Oh,
on.
man.
yeah, but it just, you know, it just didn't pan out. It just didn't
Wow.
work. She couldn't shake it. Ultimately, she did. I think just totally getting away from, like I said, that was in
business.
Nashville too. So I don't know if it was the house that just like
Damn.
everything coming home to that house just like
Whoa.
it was oversaturated.
Jeez.
You know, with like negative energy, I guess. And,
Wow.
You know, it's what I do every other week for 13 years. So I kind of,
Right.
I guess, am sadly used to it.
So would you
know?
consider yourself like a dark person?
No, I think I'm a very positive person. I don't.
Well,
I-
not dark is
Right.
like not negative, but like dark in the sense of like you've been doing it for 13 years. It's,
Right.
it's like you've dealt with so many different energies. It's kind of hard not to be like
Yeah.
like you're engulfed in it.
Right.
It's like
Oh,
it's
you're
a part of
totally
you.
engulfed in it. I mean, even just the history. We go to places that like, oh, that was a mass murder. This guy with an axe chopped up a family. Like, you know, it gets to you after a while. But I think I've learned now, like over the years, to really be able to ground myself and kind of like focus on what I need to focus on to keeping that positive energy and basically leaving anything negative at the location.
How do you cleanse?
I use a Palo Santo. It's kind of like a sage. It's actually these wooden sticks from South America that I think work better than sage.
Wow.
We have a whole other show that we do now called House Calls, where we focus on people's actual homes and try to go in and help them kind of cleanse their homes and things and deal with whatever they're. And I find Palo Santo works better than sage. But also for me, I think it's big, like your mental state that you're in at the time. Like if you're dealing with something negative, and this is across the board, like even just in life, you know, not even dealing with paranormal, I think keeping whatever it is that makes you happy. You know, if you're religious, you pray, you do whatever you want to do to create that positive energy.
Right.
For me, I like to create. I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I come home after an intense investigation. I go to my recording studio. I play music. You know, I write. I create films. Like I just do something creative with that energy to make me feel positive. Or I'll go hike in nature. You know, ground myself and take my dog for a hike. Things like that, just to. Whatever it is to keep you positive and just not let that negative energy overtake you.
So Jay, are ghosts real?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, professionally 13 years. And even before, we can go back. When I was a kid, I had paranormal experiences.
Wow.
From seeing things in the woods and kind of like, I was a weird kid growing up. I kind of was into weird stuff and just everything. I just wanted to know, like, what is out there, like myths and, mythological creatures and, crypto, zoology, things like that. Like, I was all into it. So I studied all of it and then had crazy experiences with the Ouija board as a teenager.
Really?
Yeah. I had a friend actually get possessed during a Ouija board and try to stab me in the throat with a knife.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. You serious?
Yeah, 100%. That was absolutely terrifying. This was, to back up, I was like 17. I was playing in a band. It was like, we finished band practice and we're like, all right, let's do the Ouija board tonight. And it's crazy. Like, you sell these things in a toy store.
Yeah, right. Like $10.
Right. And we're just like, all right, let's go all out. We really want to experience this. We want to have like a creepy, scary experience. And we're young and dumb. Like, we didn't know.
Damn.
So we get everything like ritualistic we can. We have incense, we have candles, we have a dagger, we have like a bowl of water, just anything ritualistic. We're like, let's go all out tonight and just really, freak ourselves out, I guess. So we started playing and it started talking to us and it kept saying his name was Z something. And it said it was a little boy spirit, which first of all, you can never trust these things because like, how do you know who you're really talking to? Right. But it claimed to be a little boy. And then I noticed the incense smoke was blowing down to the dagger that we had. And I was like, that's kind of weird, right? So I pick up the dagger, I move it to the other side, the smoke changes and goes to the dagger again.
Wow.
I'm like, all right, this is kind of weird. And I was like, hey, everyone, check this out. I just started moving it around, and everywhere I moved it, the smoke would actually follow to the dagger. So then I was like, hey, are you attracted to the dagger? And it said yes. And I was like, all right. And then I asked the stupidest question I've ever asked in my entire life. I said, can you come through the dagger into us? And it said yes. And we're all like, all right, like we take our hands off, we all step back. We're like, all right, like what are we gonna do here? Like, all right, we're like, well, this is what we wanted. We wanted to go all out. We wanted to experience it. So like, we're like, let's do it. So me and my buddy, the other guitarist, like we're like, all right, we'll do it. We'll both hold the dagger. It was in a sheath, like so you can hold it. So we both lay on the ground, we hold it, and we're like, all right, you can come through us now. I got this feeling of just overwhelming sadness. It's the weirdest feeling, like to feel sadness in your toes, like just from my toes all through my body. It was just like a feeling of sadness. Remember, we're on our backs. So he jumps up. His knees are on my shoulders and he's trying to pull the knife out of the sheath and we're fighting. And he's up on top of me. He breaks it open, pulls it out of the sheath and he pushes the knife towards my throat. And I'm holding him like this, shaking. Like as hard as I can, like holding him back, and it's past my chin, so it's like if I let go
you're done.
a percent, he would have like just jammed it right through me.
Wow.
Probably lasted like maybe 10 seconds. He just suddenly went limp, full tears, crying, had no idea what happened, and was just totally shaking. And we're just like, all right, I guess we're done. Like we got it. We got more than what we wanted.
This was at your house?
Yeah. It started in my parents' basement. And then one of our buddies had to be home. So we're like, all right, let's move it over to your place. And we invited it. We're like, come with us. We're going to go over to this place.
You guys invited the demon?
Yo.
Like, hey, what are you doing today? Just come. What you doing? My parents' house. Okay.
That's insane.
So,
just dumb teenagers.
Let me ask you a question. With ghosts, are they stuck here? Because to my understanding, there's a realm that when we pass, right? our spirits leave our body.
Right.
But some of us are either disturbed or we feel like there's unfinished business or something's going on. So we kind of get stuck here in this planet. Then we start to torment. Or is it tormenting a demon?
Right.
Or like, what's the difference? Like, what actually happens? Why are ghosts here?
Right. See, so first of all, I always say, like, I don't know 100%. Like, I've experienced a lot of things, and I have theories, and I have a lot of evidence. We've captured a lot of things, but I'm not the type of person that's like, it's this 100%. But like my theory, there's two types of hauntings that we kind of break things into. The first one is called residual haunting, where like I try to describe it as if, like, say you walking up and down this hallway, you sit in that chair every day, and you pass away. Like, a bit of your energy, it makes sense. Your energy still sticks around, and a little bit of your energy could still be like just lingering in that hallway or sitting in a chair or something like that. And under the right circumstances, the right variables, also with the right perspective, like an open mind, things like that, you can actually capture and basically experience some of that energy. Kind of like a loop, like it's just like a record
so you can
player,
kind of
just
feel
like
them,
going on a loop. You could
but
feel
he's not
it,
here to hurt you.
Right. It's just like a lingering vibe, and like that's kind of, I kind of relate it to, like, have you ever been in a room working and something, and you can just feel that someone walked in the room, like even before they say anything, you're like, oh, someone's in here. Like there's just that feeling.
Even when you sleep, you can kind of feel someone
exactly.
around.
So that's the one kind of haunting, and that 100% makes sense to me. I'm a big believer in energy, positive and negative energy as well. If there was like a mass evil thing, like there's gonna be some dark negative energy that's like stuck there and left over from that. So that makes sense. That's the easy one to me. The hard part is the intelligent communication, the intelligent haunting, and we get those a lot, where we'll ask
intelligent haunting.
Yep. Where we will ask questions. We use different devices. Simply,
and they answer them.
They'll answer directly.
So that means that the ghosts and the spirits still have a conscience.
Right. They're conscious. They're aware of us too.
Wow.
Which is a whole wild. That's the one that still blows my mind. But I've experienced it over and over again, and that's the one that's still like I've still like I'm just even thinking.
So is
about
that
it,
what
like,
our conscience basically is? It's our spirit.
It could be our spirit. Yeah. Like this is just like a vessel. Like this is just matter.
Because in order
kind of
for
put
them to
together.
answer questions, they have to have some kind of comprehension or like
separate from the brain.
Separate from the brain.
Wow, that's crazy to think about.
So it has a way of answering questions, like normal questions, not asking the intricate questions, answering questions normally.
Yeah.
So
another way, like I've kind of thought about it too and put it into perspective, is like the idea that there's no such thing as time. That like time is like something that we've created to kind of organize our life, right? And that everything that has happened, is happening, and will happening is all happening at the same time.
Right.
And it's our perspective, it's our consciousness that allows us to experience this moment, but under the right circumstances, I feel like there's moments, and maybe it's even geologically or, that's what I'm still trying to figure out, is like there's moments where there's like it crosses over, like almost like you could see through a veil in a sense. I think they call it that, like the veil, like you can see into these other time periods, these other areas. Good example, the movie The Conjuring.
Yeah,
so we
scary as shit.
so we investigated the original house that the entire movie was based out of, and it was terrifying, 100% terrifying. And I did this ritual down in the basement. That's kind of a thing I do too.
So the energy was still there.
Oh yeah, 100%. And when we interviewed one of the kids, that like her mom was the one that was possessed from the original Conjuring. Of course, the movie plays it up, but like the true story is creepy enough as it is. So the way she described it is that her mom got to a point where she realized that she was seeing an older family living in the house. And at first, it freaks you out. You're like, it's haunted, and you lose your mind, and it's crazy. But when she realized that, she kind of made peace with it. And she was kind of like, we're living here as well as other generations, other time periods of this family. And for some reason, she was able to see that. So in the basement, I did a ritual to open up a portal that I found. And I went upstairs, and I started walking around, and there's 4 of us on the show. Nobody else was in the house. It was just me. I walked around for, I don't even know exactly how long, and we still don't know exactly, but I would guess at least an hour, and I'm yelling, I'm trying to call for everybody, can't find everybody.
They can't hear you.
I walked through the whole house, they couldn't hear me, like no one was around, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of like honestly starting to break down, like mentally, like, all right, this is crazy, like I'm kind of losing my mind. And then our main host Zach just walks right out, and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, what are you doing? like I've been like calling and yelling for you guys. And like he came out of a room that I was just in too. Right. And they were nowhere to be found. And I personally feel like I kind of crossed over into that, like what she was talking about, how like I'm in another time period or dimension, whatever you want to call it. I'm not 100%, but that's what the experience was like for me personally.
So can you actually, let's say, you can see them or feel them, right? So what about like around people? Like, have you ever met someone? It could be not in a home. You just kind of met them and like, yo, there's a ghost behind you, or there's...
no, not necessarily that. I don't.
So you can't. I don't think I want
to. No, I mean I've seen ghosts. Okay. Like I've seen them, like apparitions. I remember there was one we were filming this place in Arizona. It was like an old Wild West kind of thing, and they had reenactors. They would do reenactments, like shootouts and stuff like that, to entertain the people. And we were getting ready to investigate. And I remember I went and I rolled all the cameras, and I'm walking back to what we call our nerve center, like our main base. And everybody should be out. You know, it's all just us in there, no one else. I'm walking up and I see a full-on cowboy just like walk past me. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, we're filming, like we're about to start. Why is there a worker still here? You know, I actually got pissed off. And I went around the corner from where he was coming from, and I saw the other guys, and I was like, who's this guy? Like, they're supposed to be cleared out. I thought we're good to go. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, no, like literally a cowboy just walked by, and they're like, no, like no one came by. And then I looked, and like you could see like where the exit was and everything, and there was nobody there. But it was so real to me that I didn't even think it was a ghost. Like, I literally just thought it was a guy and got pissed. Like,
why do you think it's hard to pick them up on cameras?
I think it's a lot like camera technology too. That's why we shoot in a lot of different light spectrums. So we shoot in a lot of IR light. We shoot in ultraviolet light. We use thermal cameras. We even have like LiDAR mapping systems now that we've gotten some amazing evidence where like the technology is so precise now. Like you could put it in this room and map out this room, you know, and you would see everything in there. But then like right in the middle, we know it's empty, right? But you would like see some kind of mass or a figure that's like standing in the middle, and you're like, all right, like, what is that there? You know, why is that there? That shouldn't be there.
That's like military stuff, right?
Yeah. It's just starting to come out now. Like a lot of like construction, like you know, scanning buildings and things that use that.
Nice.
For that.
So it could see through walls and stuff.
It's in green, right?
No, this is actually like it's like it almost looks like a CGI, like a 3D rendering of a location. But we've done that a few places. We just did it over in Lake Mead.
Lake Mead's haunted?
Oh yeah, we just premiered.
Wait, I didn't know that.
Well, there's bodies in there.
So we just did a 2-hour special. It just kicked off our new season there. It was we called it Lake of Death.
Wow.
So like I don't know if you heard about in the news, there was like barrels like washing up, and they're showing up because the water level's dropping, so they're finding barrels with bodies in them.
Really?
And so that piqued our interest. We're like, all right, we got to get out there. We got to see what this is about. Thinking that was it. It was just gonna be an investigation, focus on those couple things. We start interviewing the National Park Service, former rangers, things like that. They start telling us this is nothing new. This has been happening year after year. Like they're always finding bodies, and that over a course of so many years, they released all these files to me that they've found over 3,000 deaths in that park since like the late 80s, early 90s, something like that.
Christ.
Holy.
Like suicides, murders, boating accidents, car accidents, plane crashes, like all kinds of stuff.
Whoa.
And we heard that. We're like, holy shit, like this is a much bigger investigation than we thought it was going to be. They were even telling us there was a guy that like was living off the grid, like just literally, because Lake Mead's huge. There was a guy living way out in an area. He had like a ritual tent, and he was like worshiping something out there. And then these fishermen came across him and were like, this guy's a creep and weird, you know? So they called the Rangers. The Rangers show up. He charges at the Rangers with a machete, and the Rangers just shoot him dead right there because he was just running at them.
Wow.
So we investigated there, like which it was a 2-hour ATV ride to get there.
Damn.
Just because there's no roads. Oh, it was just totally off. We had to actually drive up to Mesquite and then take a 2-hour ATV like off-road all the way down to get to this spot.
Damn.
And then too, while we're there, like another thing that just stepped it up even farther was we're talking once again, you know, like that's why we made it a 2-hour special, because at first it was just like,
you basically documented the whole journey.
Yeah. And then you know, we were talking to Rangers, and they were like, oh yeah, we see shapeshifters out here all the time too. And we're like, holy shit, like we didn't realize it was that intense, where they would see like these humans like turn into creatures, or creatures turn into humans out in the middle of the desert. Yeah,
Bigfoot, right?
Like Mead. kind of like Bigfoot, any kind of crypto thing, you know, just
What
some
do you
kind of
mean
weird creature.
shapeshifters?
So like they would just see a person running, right? And they'd be like, why is that person running? And they're watching them, and all of a sudden they just shapeshift and they turn into some kind of creature animal.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
What do you mean
It's a big
Bigfoot?
thing.
There's a documentary I'll put you on, but Bigfoot is real, bro.
Yeah. Skinwalkers is another one that they're go by.
What's skinwalkers?
It's kind of the same thing. It's like this creature that's just like this like humanoid, half human, half animal type creature that like can stand up but like runs on all fours.
And that's real.
Yeah. I mean, we've captured enough stuff where like there's something to it. Like once again, I don't know 100% exactly what it is, but on this Lake Mead investigation, we caught twice 2 different types of equipment what we actually think is a shapeshifter.
Wow.
And it wasn't like a shadow. It was an actual.
Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing too. Like, and I think a lot of people don't realize too. When you see the show, like it's edited down, so it's a highlight reel basically. We're out there for a long time doing this stuff. So we try to debunk things. You know what I mean?
Shapeshifters is like an actual human you can touch.
Yeah, it looks like a physical.
It looks like, but is it real or is it just in the?
I mean, I haven't gotten close enough to to shake hands with one
that's
or anything.
crazy.
But yeah, I mean, it looks just as physical as you would imagine anything else.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So seeing that you've met a lot of, bad energy style, ghosts and spirits and demons, have you ever met any of them that are pleasant?
Yeah.
Like just sweet. Maybe like sweet people, like just don't want to hurt anybody, like sweet people.
Yeah, like sweet grandma.
It's kind of hard to say sweet people because
yeah, totally. I mean, we
Yeah.
tend to focus more on the the crazier, darker stuff. It's kind of just the route we went, and it kind of. But we've been to locations actually not too far from here.
Yeah.
Halfway between here and Reno, there's a place called Goldfield. There's a place called the Goldfield Hotel, just like massive abandoned building. And we were in there, and this place is just, it's evil. Like it's 100% evil. We've caught things lifting off the ground and go flying through the air by itself on camera.
Was that the place you said you woke up and you were getting drugged down the hall?
No, that was at the museum here.
Oh, you gotta tell
I'll
us
tell you about that one. But yeah,
getting drugged down the hall.
What?
In Goldfield. So we've caught like rocks lifting up and go flying. We caught the guys originally when they did the documentary like 15 plus years ago at the beginning, before the show even existed, they caught a brick there flying by itself, and that's kind of what got them, I guess, more notoriety and kind of blew them up more. But this place, there's a story there about a woman who the owner, I guess, like she was like a prostitute and he got her pregnant, but he chained her up to the radiator inside of a room in the hotel and just left her there. And like would feed her, but like basically kept her prisoner and just kept her a secret. Like, this can't get out. And then she had the baby, and then he apparently threw the baby down a well. Like it's a story. And so we went into that room and we brought flowers in to like, kind of be like, we're so sorry this happened. And you can still see there's still the radiator there at the time. And we put the flowers down and we start using different devices that basically the easy way to describe how they work is that they use changes in the electromagnetic energy, which is one of the theories is that spirits can actually manipulate electromagnetic energy, and then they could choose words or like use different frequencies to communicate through. And we started getting, like thank you flowers like started coming through, and we we're like, that's pretty spot on, like
Wow.
it could say anything.
Oh, they were saying thank you flowers.
Yeah, it was saying thank you flowers, things like that. And then we look over and we just see the flowers like as if someone's like touching them, like almost like petting a cat kind of thing, and you just see the flowers just start like lightly moving.
That's wild.
And it was beautiful. Like we all like actually kind of like
cried over
had like an overwhelming like sense of like beauty. And, there you go.
Was that a ghost?
What the
No way! No fucking way! Bro!
That's never happened.
No way! All these damn episodes? Yo! No fucking way! That just scared the fuck out of me.
150 episodes. That's never happened.
Bro!
What was that, anyways?
Bro!
like maybe the cover on there or something?
That's insane, bro.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm out, bro.
No way!
You should have got up.
Yeah.
Hey, we're just gonna take a break to change your shorts.
That's funny.
You see that? Yeah.
I mean, you probably could see on the camera.
Yeah, that's wild. Camera might have got that.
That's definitely. You know. Yo, that's crazy.
That's nuts.
Oh my god.
But that would pretty much confirm your theory about time being just all in one moment.
It's all there. And too,
Because
like we've had what's crazy too, we've had moments where like, you know, once it's like, all right, we're going to a location, we'll hear from the owners. As soon as we booked, like we like got the contracts and we're like, all right, we're good to go. We're gonna go film there. They were like, soon as we did that, like stuff started happening. They've gotten like our names have been called out in locations before we've gotten there. So it's almost like this weird, like they know sometimes like before it's going to happen, which is wild.
Wow. So time is just made up.
Yeah.
It's not chronological. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
it's your perspective.
man-made.
Yeah, it's our perspective. It's our consciousness, our spirit, whatever you want to call it. Like it's our personal. Like we're viewing everything from this point right now. You know what I mean?
So what happened that night at the museum?
Which museum?
Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum.
Yeah.
So I've spent a lot of time in that building.
So you were asleep there?
Yep.
You wanted to sleep there?
Yep. We were filming there.
Why?
You know, we've filmed there a bunch. We've done like a 6-hour live show there. It actually saved us when the pandemic hit because our show was shut down for like about a month, and we're like, what are we gonna do? Like we can't travel. So Zach pitched it to the network to be like, hey, why don't we do Ghost Adventures Quarantine, and just the 4 of us will live in campers in the parking lot of the museum. And we just stayed there for like 2 weeks and just filmed a whole mini series just focusing on that.
Wow.
But one of the first times we ever investigated it, we decided we were going to spend the night in there. This was like early on. Zach just got it, just started setting it up. And I'm sleeping in the front room, which first of all, it took forever to fall asleep. It was the hardest place to ever just get comfortable and sleep. And I was on like a camping cot, you know, like one of those folding out little camp cots. And I'm laying in there, finally fall asleep. I get woken up in the middle of the night at some point, and I just woke up feeling like, because it's like a cloth thing, and I feel like something hitting underneath of it. And there's no space, like it's pretty small, but I feel something hit my feet, and I kind of like jump up, and I'm like, was that? Like, all right. And I'm looking around, and I see, like, I could see that we have cameras filming us sleeping, and I could see a camera, and I could see there's like, it's pitch black, but there's a little bit of ambient light from the camera, and I just see the shadow like just flash past it. And I was like, all right, what was that? So I start yelling for the guys, like, I was like, hey, is anyone awake? Like, just yelling to be like, something just happened. Eventually, like, it took some time, but they wake up, they start coming in one by one. They're like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know, like something hit my bed. I woke up, I saw a dark shadow go by, and then I looked down, and I realized, like, I noticed I almost tripped. There was like a rug, and the rug was all bundled up. And I looked down, and I realized at that moment that the cot I was on was actually drug out into the hallway a little bit. Like I was in a room, like kind of like, it was like a big entryway, but like I was kind of in the room, but like, and I realized when I got up, like it was actually drug in, and it was like partially in the entranceway, like out into the next part.
Wow.
And you could tell that it was dragged because like the carpet was all bundled up under it. Like it was just like pulled, and it pushed up all the carpet. And I was just like, I can't explain that. And we have a camera on me the whole time, so you see like no one's there, no one's doing anything.
And you didn't feel it?
Well, I don't know if it was what I felt when I felt something bump on my feet like that. So I don't know if that was it or not. Like it
That's
makes
insane.
sense that it would have been, but yeah, that was crazy.
What's
I was
go ahead.
just gonna say like that when like something moves and there's
That's
nothing
scary.
there, it's totally scary. Like I've been dragged backwards.
What do you mean?
So we were filming in this place in Prescott, Arizona. It was like an old saloon, like Wild West. I don't know, there's something about these Wild West towns that are just off the hook. And they were saying that this evil entity resided in the basement, and there was a crawl space, and they were like, that's where it comes from. There was workers that would go down there terrified to go to work. They want to deal with it. So I get sent in. It was my, kind of picked a short straw to like, I was going to go into this crawl space by myself and investigate it. So I'm crawling, and I'm a pretty big guy, and I'm on my belly, like it's only like this deep, and I'm on my belly crawling. I have a camera in my hand, like going through. Nothing's really happening. I start being like, all right, I'm going to start antagonizing. Like this is like some kind of bully spirit thing messing with these people, so I'm going to start messing with it, try to get it to come out. So I started antagonizing, calling it out, and all of a sudden something grabs my leg, and there's nothing there. And literally you can see me, I have the camera like this, kind of shooting back behind me, I drop the camera and I actually get pulled backwards in the crawl space a good 3 or 4 feet. And you can see on camera, I get pulled away from the camera. There's nothing behind me at all. And I lose it. I freak out. But I'm in a crawl space. So I can't just like get up and run away.
So they can do anything they want to.
I think so. I think, I don't know. I don't know if it's like.
Or is that a different entity?
It could be.
That's
it
what
could
I'm
have
asking.
been that's the thing. I don't know exactly what it is. It could have been a different entity. It could also be like. I mean, it sounds like kind of weird, but like I don't know if you ever seen that movie Ghost. Like with was it Patrick Swayze?
Yeah, with Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
And
there's like a whole
Moore.
thing where
I've
like
seen it before.
he almost like when he first is like a ghost and he's trying to communicate with like people he knows and he can at first, but he almost like he has to learn how to do it and kind of. So I don't know if like some spirits are better at it than others, or some spirits have like more experience,
more
and like gained more power,
yeah.
more abilities to be able to interact with our world, or But yeah, that's just another one where like I said, when something moves and it shouldn't, and that was definitely probably one of my top terrifying moments for sure.
Damn.
What about locations? What places really spooked you?
Yeah, I mean, the Lake Mead special we just did was pretty scary, and it was kind of scary in a way where like we didn't expect it. Like,
what about the house there was a house up the street that was calling it super haunted, bro. It was right there on the corner.
Sure it's not the Zach Bagans house?
Is it?
The Zach Bagans Museum?
It was on.
There's a few in here.
It's on Pecos. It was like the most haunted
house. It's on Pecos? We're on Pecos right now.
Yeah, they actually tore it down. But
okay, I think I remember. I think I know what you're talking about.
You've heard of it though, right?
Yeah, I think they might have, because I joined the second year.
It was so
of the
haunted
show.
that they tore it down.
Yeah, I think they might have done it. We've actually done that. We
for real?
Yeah.
Like
we
destroyed the whole home.
Yeah.
Just because it was too much.
It was too intense. Yeah.
Wow.
They actually do that?
Yeah, we did a documentary called Demon House, and we focused. There was this house in Gary, Indiana, that it broke in the news. It was like known for like being terribly haunted, and not even just haunted, but like evil. Like this woman and her family, her kids were getting affected. But what made this one stand out differently, there's so many credible sources, like police officers, the chief of police, social workers, all these things. They started investigating the family because the kids were showing up like messed up. So they're like, we got to investigate this family. And then they started experienced a kid walk backwards up a wall and like all kinds of crazy shit. So
imagine if you saw that.
So I remember seeing the news and being like, man, that's crazy. And then I think I was flying out to investigation, and as soon as I landed, Zach was already texting me. He's like, have you seen this? And I was like, yeah. And then we were like talking. He's like, I'm gonna buy that house. So he tracked down the owner, and bought that house in Gary, Indiana, and we spent like a few years kind of going to this house, like in between filming the regular show, and it was just pure evil. Like I think that was probably one of the most like just evil. Like there's no good. It's not just like a human spirit that's just like mischievous or like this was just. So I don't know what it is, but something was there. It was pure evil. We found remnants of rituals that we think were done in the basement. So we don't know if someone went in there and like opened something up that brought it in. But it was bad. Everybody that stepped into that house, even like, eventually we like set up Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi guy would come in to install it. He would have problems. He would leave, get into a car accident or something. Or no, I don't think, was he the car? I don't know. The chief of police like would slip on ice after he left. Like it was just every person that would come into that house, even innocently, even not even like, to talk to us about it. Like, from like
just there to do the line,
right? Just to do like
blades,
and then they would be calling us like a little bit later, like, hey, like this just happened to me. We're like, yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah,
wow.
It's
so you guys got rid of the whole house.
Yeah, and then
just burned it down.
This property.
Yeah, it got to a point where.
So can you even build on that still, or it has to be a vacant lot?
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's what's kind of interesting is like, and I think that's part of like, I guess the bigger experiment is like, does it stay? Does it linger? Does it move somewhere else, or is it attached to the physical object? I do know that like there's a thing called the stone tape theory, which is like organic surfaces like wood, any kind of matter like rocks, things like that. They have a memory. And this was actually proven scientifically through a scientist in Japan that would take water samples and freeze them. So you would take water from like the mountains, like beautiful spring water, and you would freeze it. It would form these beautiful crystals. And then he would take like city water out of the sewer and freeze that, and it would be like malfigured and disfigured and not symmetrical. And then he would project positive energy to.
Seen that. I seen this experiment like
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
So they proved objects have energy, basically.
And then he would
Energy and memory.
and he would
You can
project
make it sad, and you can make it happy.
Exactly, and he would project positive energy to like the sewer water, and then he would refreeze it, and then now it's beautiful crystals.
Whoa.
And then he would take like the beautiful spring water that previously made beautiful crystals and be like, I hate you, you're blah, 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 and like project negative energy to it. And then when he would freeze that and look at it, it would be all disfigured.
That's
so he basically proved that like energy, positive and negative, can actually affect organic matter on a molecular level. Wow. You know,
They say with plants, when there's negative people around plants, it kills them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
or even
so-
arguing.
Right. So it makes sense that
can
like if
disrupt
something
it.
is just evil, or like, you know, there was just like just something just pure evil in a spot, like it's gonna literally soak into the walls.
So Jay, how do you sleep at night?
Do you have nightmares?
It's tough. Yeah.
Like when was the last time you actually slept 8 hours?
I mean, I could probably check my stats. You know, I've been trying to track and kind of actually pay attention to it, but like not much really. Like
For real?
Like
So you're carrying a lot of energy around with you.
Yeah, I've walked in actually here in town. I went to like one of the crystal shops one day. And,
told you to get out.
And some lady was like, she's like, whoa. And I'm like, what? And she's like, you got a lot around you. And I was like, okay. And then she like didn't know who I was at first either. Like, so it wasn't just like, oh, you're Jay from Ghost Adventures. You know? But
so
yeah.
you don't sleep at night.
I mean, I do. I think I don't sleep well necessarily.
Why do you think it's like, hey Jay, wake up?
No, I don't know. I mean, it could honestly be a mixture of PTSD too, because like we've been through so many. Like we've done well over 300 investigations. I mean, that's just with the regular show. Like,
that's
not
insane.
counting spin-offs and specials, things like that.
What's your ultimate goal with this? Because it seems like you're gonna, like, you feel like you're gonna get hurt doing this at some point.
Yeah, and I have been. I've broken a rib on an investigation. Literally just overcoming. You could say I got an ankle brace on. I dislocated my ankle. Like,
Jeez.
you know, like I've busted up my back one time, and two, like we do this in the dark, so like you're gonna fall down. I was coming out of a basement once, and I pushed a storm door up, and I slipped, and it fell in my hand, and my head went through the door. Like,
Oh my God.
So there's definitely many ways to get hurt.
So what's the goal with all?
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish or prove?
Yeah, I think
it's being the ghost hunter, because you're eventually you're gonna meet your match,
right? Yeah,
right? Like, right?
Yeah, no, totally.
Am I
I mean, I think that all the time. Like, there's a part of me, like, but I think it's
you're gonna meet the Thanos of demons,
right? Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, I don't know. I feel like one, you know, maybe it's a bit of craziness, but like, I think it's that passion and desire to like want to know what happens, like. You know, and I think a lot of people don't realize, like, it's not just a TV show. Like, this is our lives. We do this. Like, a lot of TV shows will film, you know, for a few months, and then they take the rest of the year off. Like, we shoot every other week, nonstop, since, like, I've been with it for 13 years.
Wow.
Like,
so you wanting to know what happens, right?
yeah. And I think that's everybody knows.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but
Everybody
then
knows that.
like what happens once you find out what happened? What if the day you find out what happens is like your story ends?
Right, yeah.
So do you get to tell us a story, like what you trying to leave, like a legacy, or just kind of enlighten us on about life and death? Or
yeah, I think, I don't know, it's weird because I hear from like a lot of fans that they'll say like, you know, like our show's giving them comfort, even though it scares them, but like just knowing like there's something more than just this, I think gives a lot of people comfort, for sure, you know, and brings people together in a way, you know, and I think a lot of people are looking for that and, you know, don't have that in their day-to-day lives. So like, I feel like that's the good side of what we do.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it is just like a natural curiosity. You know, it's like, what is it? And like, we've been doing it for so long. And I've had moments where I'm like, all right, I've seen things lift off the ground. I've been scratched. I've had scratches appear on me and actually see them manifest. You know, I've seen spirits. I've heard spirits. I've seen exorcisms, possessions, all kinds of things. So I'm always like, what else could there be? Like, what else? And then we'll go and do an investigation. And I'm just like, you know, like Lake Mead, like, all right, we're going out here, just another investigation. We call it Shapeshifters. Like, it just, my mind just is constantly keeps being blown. And, you know, the four of us were still 100% into it. We love it. It's like, it's our life. It's our passion.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, it's weird. Like, and it's a rush, honestly. Like, I could never go skydiving. Like, the idea of skydiving terrorized me. But
a demon don't. Skydiving.
It's scary, but like,
demons.
but there's that. I get it. I get why people would like skydiving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there is that adrenaline rush. That, and it's the same thing with investigating. You know, spirits. Like, there is that rush.
Are you prepared for when you have to experience an exorcism yourself? Do you feel like you're strong enough to sustain that? Like, are you? Do you know at some point it's gonna happen?
I mean, I like to think so, because I mean, I have had different experiences. I've had moments where I felt like there's things that are like, I don't know,
trying to get
just to like, you know, grasping their claws in you a little bit, not fully got you, but like you could tell like they're trying to hold on.
Yeah.
And I've been able to shake it, and I think that is just from the experience of doing what we do over and over again, and witnessing it with other people, and kind of finding what works for me, and just sticking with that. You know?
Yeah. Have you guys ever thought about bringing like a psychic with you to communicate?
Yeah, and we've done that a few times. We've had psychics. I think psychics are hit or miss. We have a few ones that we've worked with that have been great. I think for me, and I know some personal friends of mine that were psychics that have like called me in the middle of the night and be like, "What's going on? Are you all right?" And it was just like something crazy was happening. And so like, I don't know, I'm hit or miss. Like, I think they have to like kind of prove themselves in a way, which, you know, is still like the skeptic part of me, which is even when we investigate, like I still approach it skeptically. But yeah, I do believe, and I've experienced, you know, different things where they've said things where I'm like, all right, there's no way they could possibly know that.
Right. What was that person you were telling me about that could predict even more? A seer.
A seer.
Oh, a seer, yeah.
You guys ever brought a seer on?
I don't think anyone that like necessarily like reference themselves as seer, but we've had people that like kind of would like say almost like, I don't know, almost like these weird twisted, like almost like a riddle, like kind of thing. And you're
I've
like,
had one cleanse, I had one cleanse my house, and she explained to me that you have to cleanse the corners,
right?
Because that's where they lie, that's where they store. True, right?
Yeah.
So as she was cleansing the corners, she had nothing in her hand, but there was a sound, a screeching sound. She was using bleach.
Okay.
All right, bleach is a cleansing, bleach and water or something like that. But there was like a screeching sound that happened, but I guess she said the whatever was in there was neutral. Okay. So it was lost or something like that. But it was like a screeching sound, almost like a scratching of the walls, bro. It was so creepy. It was just me and her there, and I was standing right next to her, so she didn't do it. She had nothing in her hand, but it was a sound, and she said it left. Whatever it was, but she said it wasn't like it was an indifferent. She called it an indifferent.
Gotcha.
So. Yeah,
we've witnessed that like visually. I've seen that like during exorcisms, like watching them happen, and there's almost like a moment where you could see whatever was affecting them, like the negative energy, like actually leave their body, and like I said, it's like an eye change, like something in their eyes or demeanor, and like they almost just like kind of like the story I told earlier about my friend. Like there's just a point where like all of a sudden it's gone, and you just like you go limp, and you're just like kind of like what just happened to me, kind of thing.
Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
Yeah, I've experienced that a few times.
What is that? Because I hear so many different stories.
For me, I got it once. I couldn't move, but my eyes were open.
Okay.
And some guy was choking me out, like a shadow person.
I get it. I've got it often. I don't even know how many times I can count, but it's not normal. But when it happens, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I feel like what
is it?
There is a like I guess part of it is there is an actual explanation, like. So when we sleep, our bodies actually release a chemical that paralyzes us. It basically stops us from acting out our dreams, which actually is a mental condition of like, there are people out there, it's very rare, but like there's people that don't release that chemical.
Sleepwalk.
And then they'll like sleepwalk, or like there was a case where a guy actually like, he like went to bed, woke up the next morning, man, he had dreams that he was deer hunting, and he woke up and his wife was dead with an arrow through her.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it is a natural thing that our brain does to like stop us from trying to act out our dreams, and it will paralyze you. So like there's a belief that like, oh, maybe you just happen to kind of wake up with that chemical in you, and like you're paralyzed but you're awake. But then what's interesting is like what you were saying is that happens, but then there's like a shadow figure, or like there's other physical manifestations. I had a similar thing where I spent the entire night locked in a jail cell by myself in an old abandoned prison. Like down, actually it wasn't even a prison, it was like this mansion, but they had like a prison under the base. It was weird. Down in the basement, like these cells, and I spent the night down there by myself, and eventually it was just like, all right, I'm in a room. So I try to investigate, I try to do things. I got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm just in here until the other guys are done and they come and lock me out, you know. And so I ended up falling asleep in there, and I remember I woke up, and it was the weirdest thing because like we were filming it too, so like seeing myself. And like I guess at some point I like take my shoes off and I'm not even aware of it, and like I don't sleepwalk, I don't do any of that. But then I remember being like waking up paralyzed, and I'm seeing something, and all of a sudden like I'm full awake, and I describe it as a gray alien, honestly. Like I saw like a gray alien standing above me, And
Do you
I just
believe in
kind of
aliens?
freaked out, and it was gone.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. I believe. I don't know.
understand.
Like my personal theory about it is like, and same thing. Like, who knows? Like, it could be anything, you know. Like, but what I think of gray aliens is actually us from the future. Because if you think about it from a anatomical kind of sense, you know, like from evolution, if you look at like, you know, the evolution of the human species, you know, our jaws were bigger and our heads were smaller, right? So if you start fast forwarding that evolution, our jaws are going bigger. That's why our wisdom teeth messes up, is because actually our jaw is shrinking inward like this. So that's like on the edge of an evolutionary step. That
There's some kids now that are being born without wisdom
Right,
teeth.
exactly.
We're evolving.
saw that.
Again.
So it's like our jaws are moving this way and our heads are getting bigger, our brains are getting more evolved. So like fast forward that, we're going to have the little chin, the big head, kind of like a gray alien look, right?
I hope
now-
not.
Yo, I like that theory. I've
But
never
now
heard
think
that.
of this. So like,
What it look like that though?
so if in the future there's some kind of catastrophe, which everyone talks about, one day it's going to happen, whether it's an asteroid or fire, flood, like anything, whatever it is, there's going to be something that's going to force the human civilization to go underground. What's going to happen evolutionary if humans go underground? It's going to be dark. They're going to lose pigmentation in their skin. They're going to turn gray. They're going to be washed out. Their eyes are going to have to get bigger to be able to see in darker light. Like, so it basically, in my point of view, that's showing that we could easily evolve into like the typical gray alien.
Wow. I like that theory, man. Jay, I've learned a lot about ghosts from you, man.
Sheesh.
That was a great episode. I think we caught a ghost on
Right?
camera.
You might have to watch
God.
the footage.
Yeah, we're gonna
Maybe
have to
you'll
watch
actually
that.
see something in there, man.
Man, any closing comments for people watching?
I mean, thanks. This is fun. That was awesome. You know, and like we keep doing it. We have new episodes right now coming on Discovery every Wednesday night, and you know, we do it so you guys don't have to. I guess like we do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to Lake Mead, bro.
Yeah.
No, I mean I've already jet skied there, so it's not. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Well, during the day, you're fine.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not- I
weird.
don't
Like
go there tonight,
you go out there like night, like there's these old railroad tunnels, and you go hiking there. And I remember I was there during the day. At one point, I went after the film, and I went with some friends. I was like, you gotta check this place out. And the sun started going down, and they were all like, "Whoa, like what is with this place?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, this is where we call it the Shapeshifter."
Wow.
Like I didn't even tell anybody ahead of time. Like it was afterwards, you know.
Oh, man.
But they
You
all
spooked
picked
them
up
out.
on it. Like soon as the sun starts going down, it changes the vibe.
Wow. That's sick. Wayne?
You can follow me on Instagram at Ghost Adventures.
Digital Social Hour. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.
Peace.